The Office of Hawaiian Affairs Board of Trustees met on Oahu Tuesday. Mauna Kea was on the agenda. The meeting was streamed online, but most of the discussion looked like this. That's because, as planned, the board went into executive session to consult with their attorney regarding the ad hoc committee on Mauna Kea.
Enough arrest for all people, our children, they're suffering too much.
It was nearly 1 year ago to the day that OHA trustees witnessed the emotion surrounding the 30-meter telescope controversy firsthand during a site visit to Mauna Kea. At the time, tensions were high. The Department of Land and Natural Resources had just carried out another round of arrests under emergency rules in an attempt to clear the around-the-clock blockade of the 30-meter telescope construction crews by those calling themselves the protectors of the mountain, opposed to the $1.4 billion project on Mauna Kea.
It is a violation of native rights for exercising traditional customary practice. And that's a very, very sensitive issue for us.
Those emergency rules were later invalidated in the courts, as was the permit for the TMT to build. OHA itself seemed on the fence about the project. Trustees were divided on the issue. Although OHA had initially supported the project, the growing demonstrations against the observatory led the board to rescind their resolution in support. In July, the Star-Advertiser reported that OHA was threatening to take the state and the University of Hawaii to court over their management of Mauna Kea. The paper reported that OHA had been working behind the scenes to gain some control over the mountain. The OHA trustees were scheduled to visit Hilo this week. However, those meetings were canceled due to concerns over two approaching hurricanes that both ended up sparing the islands.
In Laulani, we canceled the meeting for tomorrow and Thursday because of the storm that was coming, but thankfully it's not coming.
Okay.
As you know, being from the Big Island, I'm very happy about that, to know that our island is safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
The meeting is postponed to the 20th, I believe, of September. September
20th. Okay. So September 20th, it'll be held in Hilo.
Following OHA's executive session on Tuesday, Laulani Teal testified before the board, seeking clarification on what was discussed and when OHA will reschedule their Hilo meeting.
And today was an opportunity to review their progress. And that's all we're doing, is receiving feedback.
Okay.
I can tell you they've been doing good work.
Okay.
And I'm not sure when we would be able to give that public notification. But yeah, we ought to uku up not just the state, but we found out that the real issue is laying on the University of Hawaii and their management and oversight of the mountain, which you folks have already identified as being the biggest source of pilikia with the practitioners.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these things take time to work out between policymakers, those that have an interest, because they do have the lease agreements for the oversight of the mountain, and some of identifying where the weak areas with DLNR.
If I may, Laulani, share this. The reason why we're having this meeting today, when we go to Hilo, we want to have a productive meeting, and because there's a possibility of litigation, what we're able to share when we're in Hilo, so that we can have a substantive discussion, what we can share and what we cannot share as it relates to the Mauna.
The board heard from other testifiers, some of whom were arrested during last year's standoff on the mountain.
Have any of you guys ever read the original master lease that the BLNR gave to the University of Hawaii Regents? Okay. And when I spoke, this is another thing, when I spoke to Stephanie Nagata and I talked to her, I was like, when are you guys going to fulfill your guys' obligation that you guys have been neglecting for 43 years? She told me, oh, that's on our next agenda. And I was like, wow, your next agenda, that's 43 years later. How long does it have to take? And I would like to ask, like, maybe you guys could maybe step up and actually make sure that they actually do it, because that, I feel that would stop all this desecration that is happening on our most sacred mountain.
So is the ad hoc committee in communication with the people that are on the Mauna or the people that are suing themselves? Is the ad hoc committee in communication with these folks over here? Of all the Hawaiians that actually have an opinion that are trying to protect Mauna Kea,
We are
do
in
you have that?
We are in communication in that we stand with the people. We agree with the Lahui.
You guys voted to rescind.
We agree with the Lahui that the mountain is being mismanaged.
Yes.
And we are trying to establish a strategy as to whether or not the best way to go about to get a seat at the table so Hawaiians have a voice in the decision making. That's what we're talking about.
Okay.
And if we decide to move forward, as Judge Klein points out, then the door will be open for people to come and start with us about how we do that.
Okay, thank you, thank you. I'm totally ignorant about the process, and thank you for clarification.